All right, calorie trackers and how to really keep track of what you eat. I know I talk a lot about it and the importance of it. So today we're going to dive a little bit more in depth to the ins and outs of calorie tracking. So get ready for episode 142. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast.
Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody. I'm so glad you are here. And today we're talking about the importance of calorie tracking. Before we jump into that, if you have not signed up for our new mobile text number, then please text the word podcast to 706-222-7551. Basically what it is, it's a mobile number that you can reach me at. The texts come directly to me. I will respond to whatever questions you have. And each week I send out a couple texts just with some fitness tips, with some motivation. So if you've not jumped on that, what are you waiting for? Hit me up. Podcast at 706-222-7551. All right, let's jump into today's episode. So when it comes to calorie tracking, first off, you've got to have an app. And there's a lot out there. Samsung makes one that's built into their phone. MyFitnessPal is a good one. Fitbit makes one. You don't have to have a Fitbit in order to use theirs. Lose It is a good one. There's a lot of great calorie trackers out there that are free. So find one you like. Find one that we all have different likes and dislikes when it comes to apps. We like styles, and so just find one that feels comfortable for you. Now, when you get the app, basically the way they work is there is a database of almost every imaginable food, and you will simply type in what you eat. For example, let's say for breakfast, I eat 3 eggs, a piece of whole wheat toast, and 12 ounces of milk. I will type in eggs, quantity 3, and it will log how many calories I just ate from that. It will also have the breakdown of my protein, my fat, and my carbohydrate. The next, I will punch in the next food item, whole wheat bread, 1 slice. Now, again, brands are going to vary differently, so if you know the brand, that's helpful. Or you can even scan the barcode if you're there, like in the kitchen doing it. So there's a lot of ways you can actually track your calories. So whether you do this all at once, for instance, if it's easier for you to do it at each meal, then do it that way. If it's easier for you to do it at the end of the day, do it that way. But it is important that you track your calories because oftentimes when you eat something, you don't realize what's in it. You don't realize how many calories in it. You don't realize the fat content, how many carbs, how much protein is in it. And so we kind of eat without thinking. And it's not really a fault of our own. It's just we're not taught any differently. So by doing this, it opens up our eyes to see, wow, this is what's in this. This is what's in that. And really kind of see what's going on with what we put in our mouth. So you have the app, you're starting to track calories. Now, when you first get the app, it's going to ask you what your goal is, whether it's weight gain, whether it's weight loss. You'll put in your height, your weight, your age, and it's going to calculate approximately how many calories you need to be eating to maintain, to lose, or to gain. So your maintenance weight is basically what you burn in a day. So let's just say for easy example's sake, you burn 2,000 calories a day. By eating 2,000 calories a day, you will maintain your current state. If you drop that by 500 and only eat 1,500 calories a day but are burning 2,000, you will lose 1 pound per week because 3,500 calories over the course of a week from 500 a day equates to 1 pound. If you are trying to gain and you eat 2,500 a day, that will result in an increase in 1 pound per week. So this kind of gives you an idea. Now, are these estimates for how many calories you're burning or what your maintenance level is 100% correct? No, it's not, but that's okay. We can make adjustments as we can go. If you find that, it says you're burning 2,000 a day and you're eating 2,000 a day, but you're still gaining weight, then guess what? You're probably burning a little less than what it's calculating. So you just need to lower that down a little bit. So there is a little bit of adjustment that may need to be needed, but it is pretty accurate and it gives you a good starting point. Now, some do's and don'ts with calorie tracking. Don't eyeball stuff. So often, when we're putting something in an app, it has like, let's say chicken, it has it in ounces. And you'll be like, oh, that looks like 5 ounces of chicken when it's really like a pound of chicken. We're terrible at eyeballing things unless you've just been doing this for a long time. So grab a kitchen scale. They sell them at Walmart. They sell them on Amazon. You can get like an old school one that has the little dial that turns on it, or you can get a digital one. I picked up a digital one on Amazon. I think it was like $10. It's super easy to do. You can even like put a container on it and then zero out the container and add food to the container, so it's only weighing what's in the container. So super helpful. I highly recommend getting one of these if you're serious about your food and your nutrition, which you should be because it's so important. All right, next thing, measure things. This goes hand in hand with weighing things. Don't just grab a handful of something. Measure it out with a measuring cup. I still measure out things. Like, there's a lot of things I don't measure because I have a pretty good idea of what I'm eating, and I eat very repetitively, so I understand what's in it. But there are some things that I still measure. For instance, I eat cashews and almonds every day, and I measure those out. I grab a measuring cup out of my cabinet, I measure it out into a little bowl and or Ziploc or whatever, and I know how much I'm eating. Because if I don't, I'm gonna misread, and it might be not that much difference if I just like freehand it, but that little difference added up is gonna make a difference. You know what I mean? Like maybe I grab 10 less than normal when I just freehand it. Well, over time, that's going to be a big difference. So the point is measure, measure, measure. Use tablespoons, measuring cups, whatever, but measure out your crap. All right. Another thing, when we're tracking, let's say you have a sandwich and you're like, okay, I had bread and I had tuna. Cool. Did you put mayonnaise in the tuna fish? Did you put like some crazy people raisins or something in your tuna fish? Now, if you like that sort of thing, that's awesome. I have this huge texture thing, so I can't add like weird foods together. But anyway, the point is, are you missing calories? Because so often we underestimate what we're eating because we forget condiments. We forget the little things. We forget the packet of sugar that's in our coffee. We forget the coffee creamer. We forget the ketchup that was on our whatever. You know, all these small things, they may seem insignificant, but when you add them up over the course of the day, it can be the difference between like hitting your goal and not hitting your goal, because that's how much it adds up to. Oftentimes, too, we don't understand the difference between brands. For example, once in a while, I get like a Halo Top ice cream, or Aldi sells like a very low calorie ice cream, and the whole pint is roughly 300 calories. So I can eat that whole pint and skip my typical evening snack, and it's about equivalent in calories. It's also like a high protein ice cream. I'm not saying to eat ice cream. I'm just saying as a treat, that's something I eat once in a while. But here's the difference. Sure, so I could easily think, well, that pint was 300 calories. So I can just grab any pint of ice cream. Did you know that some of Ben and Jerry's pints of ice cream, I kid you not, are over 1,100 calories per pint? That's right. Same amount of ice cream, but almost 4 times the amount of calories. Insane. So my point is, don't assume because one type of product has a certain amount of calories that a similar type of product is going to have that amount of calories. You know what I mean? You can get a sandwich from one place and a sandwich from another, and the calorie count be completely different from both places. And also, with that being said, if you're eating out, you know, like let's say you go to Subway and get a sandwich and you look at the calorie take of it, you've got to remember that's just factoring in the meat, cheese, and bread. So if you're adding a sauce to it, if you're adding guacamole to it, if you're adding anything like that, it's very calorie dense. The veggies, they're pretty low in calories. But you've got to remember, anything you add is increasing your calories. So you can't just take things for face value. You really have to evaluate, what am I eating? And what is actually in this? And did I add something to this that I wasn't thinking about? Sure, I had a piece of toast, but did I slather it with a half a tablespoon of butter? You know what I mean? Think about all the food you're consuming, because so often we underestimate what we're eating. Whether you're trying to gain, whether you're trying to lose, we always tend to underestimate. So be careful with logging food. Now, why is logging food so important? Kind of wrapping this all up. It's so important because A, it opens your eyes to what is in the foods you eat. When I first started, like I was blown away at how healthy some things were and how unhealthy some things were. Things that I had been eating a long time, and I was like, wow, this is what's really in this food. I had never taken the time to really sit down and digest like what's in something, pun intended. So it's like really important for that purpose. It gives you a new perspective on what you're eating. And then 2, it helps keep you on track. If you're tracking your stuff every day, it also keeps you more accountable. You're not going to want to necessarily eat that snack because crap, crap, I'm going to have to log this later and I'm not going to like what I see when I log it. So it's just another accountability factor added in there. And it gets really easy because usually with apps, what happens is we tend to eat very similar day to day, especially when you start eating healthier. And so it tracks your most tracked foods. So you don't have to type them in all the time. Usually they're saved on a recently used list, and you can just hit it and add it to your food intake for the day. So it gets easier. You get more used to it. So just like, if nothing else, record your freaking food. It's going to be life changing. All right. If you are on any form of social media, please hit us up. We'd love to connect with you. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, you definitely should go over there. I've been putting out a series this month of my 3 top exercises of all different muscle groups. So each week I release a different one. So if you haven't already, check those videos out. With that being said, remember, no matter what you're coming up against, you can hit your goals. You've got this.